Thank my wife, Blake, who is sitting right there, who is everything to me. You are the best thing that has ever happened to me. Second only to this star on the Hollywood Fox.
Yeah. Like, what do you want for dinner, sweet angel? And she's just like, I want Cheerios.
Out of our whole family, she's the only one that got the secondary security pat down.
At 2 years old.
All right, so what is this shady 2-year-old up
But she just takes it like a hardened felon. Like she's just like,
Search me. What's up?
And then we had our children, and that's when I realized that I love gin.
Ever notice how Ryan Reynolds seems to have a perfect comeback for literally everything? The guy can take down internet trolls, roast his best friends, and make a mint off comedic commercials that we end up binge-watching at 3 a.m. But here's the question that's been bouncing around Hollywood gossip circles: is that oh-so-charming wisecracker persona protecting a hidden mess of drama? Because according to a swirl of rumors, we might be looking at more than just clever social media posts and Deadpool quips. Today, we're diving into the behind-the-scenes intrigue surrounding our favorite sarcastic superhero. Some fans claim Reynolds uses humor as a smokescreen to mask controversies that may finally be catching up with him. From a mysterious meltdown with Justin Baldoni to a shockingly abrupt goodbye from streaming platform FUBU, plus that tragic, on-set accident that still lingers over Deadpool 2, there's a mountain of speculation about whether Ryan Reynolds is a comedic genius on the outside and a control freak on the inside. So, prepare yourself. By the end of this deep dive, you'll either be convinced he's the ultimate marketing mastermind or simply the funniest guy in a Hollywood swirl of drama.
I used to say to her, I would take a bullet for you. I could never love anything as much as I love you. I would say that to my wife, and then the second I looked in that baby's eyes, I knew in that exact moment that if we were ever under attack, I would use my wife as a human shield to protect that baby.
Let's get one thing straight. Ryan Reynolds didn't stumble onto that comedic flair by accident. Long before Deadpool, he was cranking out rapid-fire zingers in Van Wilder, dropping wry eyebrow lifts in Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place, and basically turning sarcasm into a lovable brand. Audiences ate it up. Hollywood studios threw him onto posters faster than you can say snarky leading man. But here's where the rumor mill starts to grind its gears. According to certain online sleuths, Reynolds may be using all that wit to dodge accountability and hush any real criticism. Instead of politely ignoring a negative remark, he'll spin it into a meme or an eyebrow-raising Easter egg that basically screams, "Laugh at them, not at me." Some fans see it as a harmless comedic style. Others believe it's a next-level tactic for controlling the narrative. Case in point, if you point a finger at him, he'll joke about it first, so that by the time you're done complaining, the public is busy giggling at the joke, not at the problem.
So we talked to Mark Ruffalo recently, and he said that his...
Sorry.
I know. He's real hard work, that
Yeah, I know, right? What a
meanest
diva.
guy in Hollywood.
Oh.
Whether that's a brilliant survival strategy or a surefire way to avoid tough conversations is up for debate. The big question is, does the real Ryan even exist behind the quips and quick wit? Or is he fully molded into this unstoppable irony machine? Believe it or not, Reynolds wasn't content with just starring in and producing blockbuster flicks. Nope. He had to become a streaming mogul too. Because obviously that's the next step after wearing a red spandex suit and shaking your butt on camera, right? Enter FUBU, a sports-first streaming platform that was all about forging new paths, and forging them alongside Ryan's Maximum Effort production company. They rolled out something called the Maximum Effort channel, stocked with classic comedies, nostalgic sitcoms, and just enough Ryan-themed original content to keep your screen overflowing with wisecracks 24/7. In theory, it sounded like the place where your late-night comedic cravings would go to party, but then it all went poof. Not long ago, FUBU yanked the channel off its listings like it never existed. No farewell party, no heartfelt press statement, just bye-bye. The official explanation? Insert stony silence here. Yeah, there wasn't one. So, of course, the rumor mill went bananas. Maybe the ratings were so small that even a Ryan Reynolds cameo couldn't save them from tumbleweed territory. Or maybe, just maybe, this sudden deletion happened because of drama swirling in Reynolds' personal and professional life.
Reynolds, how's it going?
Great. Why? What have you heard?
Speculators point to the timing, which, let's face it, was less than flattering. Lawsuits were afoot. Allegations of Hollywood bullying and behind-the-scenes tantrums bubbled up. If you're a big platform, you might not want to get tied to a sinking PR ship, even if that ship is helmed by the internet's beloved dad joker. All we know for sure is the Maximum Effort channel is no more, leaving watchers with a burning question: was it just a vanity project meant for hawking Ryan's personal brands, or did something bigger force the door shut? If you've ever watched Justin Baldoni in interviews or on social media, you know he's all about positivity, empathy, and occasionally making us cry with deep reflections about life's meaning. So imagine everyone's shock when reports started popping up that Baldoni and Reynolds were feuding behind the scenes. Like, not the I spilled coffee on your shoes kind of feud, but an alleged meltdown where Reynolds reportedly summoned Baldoni to his penthouse to yell at him for fat-shaming Blake Lively. Baldoni insists he never commented on Blake's appearance at all. Instead, he says he'd simply inquired about personal training tips for back issues. So, how did that turn into fat-shaming? Some fans think it was all a misunderstanding that snowballed. Others suspect it was the perfect lightning rod for Ryan to unleash behind-the-scenes frustration. Baldoni even filed, or amended, some sort of complaint claiming that Reynolds strong-armed him or tried to wreck his career. Yikes! Suddenly, you've got two of Hollywood's friendliest guys at each other's throats, Baldoni with his philanthropic smile, and Reynolds with his wise guy smirk. Now, we can't say for sure what actually happened in that penthouse showdown, but the timing sure raises eyebrows. Reynolds was rumored to be locking horns with more than one person at that moment, and some are convinced he channeled all of his marketing wit into discrediting Baldoni's reputation. Because if you're Ryan Reynolds and you're ticked off, what better weapon than your comedic flair and massive influence? Whether it was a real meltdown or a mutual misunderstanding, it might be a clue as to how battles are won and lost when Hollywood personalities collide. For a guy who built an empire off being silly and irreverent, there's a dark shadow hovering over one of his biggest successes, Deadpool 2.
Will we maybe see a Deadpool 4?
Oh God, no. My wife and children will divorce me, and
The kids will divorce
Jimmy,
you?
I have no prenup with any of them.
You can't
I
let
will
that.
be capital B broke, and in turn, probably then doing Deadpool 4. 'cause I need the
Yeah.
money.
So we cannot make that
No,
happen.
so yeah.
In 2017, a seasoned stuntwoman lost her life on set during a motorcycle scene that went horribly wrong. Official investigators later determined that safety precautions were lacking. They singled out everything from inadequate supervision to the absence of proper headgear. It's grim stuff, the kind of thing that no comedic spin can gloss over. Ryan was a credited producer and writer for Deadpool 2. His production company, Maximum Effort, was also involved. So how is it that, in the public eye, he managed to keep his name squeaky clean while the studio took the brunt of the backlash?
Really making me rethink stunts. I've been doing action movies for 25 years. I've broken 12 bones. I just had a 7th surgery. And, kids, though, they beat you up. Rethinking doing stunts now because I'm starting to realize, I want to be able to still kind of be active with my kids and stuff.
Conspiracy theory or not, it's a valid question that's been asked repeatedly by fans and onlookers. Some argue that when you're the star attraction pulling in megabucks, a big studio might be happy to serve as your damage control shield. Others say it's simply a tragedy that happened under complex conditions, and blaming Reynolds personally isn't fair. Either way, the tragedy is a glaring example of the disparity between comedic hype and real-world consequences. The family of the stuntwoman eventually reached some form of settlement, but you don't hear much about how that impacted Reynolds, if at all. Did he dodge the press by default, or was he truly blameless? That's the question that lingers whenever fans revisit Deadpool 2. For a man who's so deeply associated with every success of that franchise, he sure vanished from headlines about its darkest moment. Look, no one denies that Ryan Reynolds is a marketing wizard. The man could sell ice in Antarctica if he slapped a cheeky tagline on it. With businesses like Aviation Gin, Mint Mobile, and Betty Buzz under his belt, he's turned himself into a walking brand. Some folks applaud him for these hustles. After all, who doesn't want to own a gin company, a part of a soccer club, or a telecom brand? But then there's the narcissism debate. A scattering of rumors claims that Reynolds has an iron grip on creative decisions, rewriting scripts and overshadowing directors who push back. Others allege that the endless synergy of his personal brands inside his entertainment projects feels like, well, a self-promotional wormhole. The now-defunct Maximum Effort channel was jammed with ads from his own products. Genius synergy, or a pocket liner's paradise. Some co-stars have hinted at tension on set, suggesting the comedic magnetism flips to my way or the highway if you don't go along with his comedic approach.
How old were you when you started?
I was 13 years old.
Wow, so your whole life has been about bullshitting people.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Said the guy who starred in Goonies.
Granted, we hear these rumors about lots of big stars. Yet, because Reynolds markets himself as approachable and down-to-earth, the idea of him being controlling is particularly jarring. Think about it. He's the lovable wisecracker who marries, jokes with fatherly devotion, always quick to poke fun at himself. But behind that persona, if certain whisperers are to be believed, he's also a fierce empire builder who expects everything to revolve around his comedic vision. Could he be guilty of a bit of both? Hollywood is basically one giant high school cafeteria, with A-listers seated at the cool table and everyone else hoping to not get bumped off the lunch bench. Word on the street is, if Ryan Reynolds decides you're done, you might find it mysteriously difficult to land future roles or get your pet project funded. After all, studios love an actor who can rake in box office bucks, and Reynolds has proven he can do precisely that. This is one reason people suspect we don't see many official complaints about him or other megastars like him. Folks fear the dreaded industry blacklist, worried that a single negative remark might be career suicide. Sorry, career-ended things. See what we did there? Whether you're a stunt coordinator, a co-star, or a lower-level production hand, it's tough to speak out when your paycheck depends on the goodwill of entertainment juggernauts. Still, it only takes one strong-willed individual to crack that door open, and sometimes a flood of hidden stories follows. We've seen it happen before in Hollywood. The question is whether we're at that critical moment for Reynolds. Will more people come forward with grievances now that the Baldoni fiasco and the FUBU meltdown have raised eyebrows? Or will fans shrug, call it all fake news, and keep giggling at his latest Twitter jokes? Part of Reynolds' brand is the world's most endearing father. He's constantly doting on his kids, cracking jokes about fatherhood, and reminding everyone how vital empathy is for the next generation. In interviews, he has that relatable, dad who'd do anything for his kiddos vibe that's practically guaranteed to make you go, aw. But critics roll their eyes at what they see as a spotless facade. Could the down-to-earth dad angle be just as curated as his comedic persona? Let's face it, in a world where authenticity is the new gold standard, being viewed as a devoted husband and father is one of the safest ways to shield yourself from darker rumors. Sure, plenty of celebs talk about family life, but some fans suspect that Reynolds, in particular, has turned paternal love into a ticket for universal adoration.
And is she talking?
Yeah, she's saying mama. Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You know what, though? You know what my wife doesn't realize, though? Is that she calls me mama, too.
He's the anti-diva. No raging backstage tantrums for him, at least publicly. Instead, it's all tweets about diaper explosions and bedtime schedules. It might be genuine, or it might be the perfect PR buffer. Or, and here's a shocking possibility, maybe it's both. He could be a loving father and a strategic brand builder. Humans are complicated like that. So, are we witnessing the slow unmasking of Ryan Reynolds, or is this whole fiasco just tabloids trying to tear down a beloved movie star? He lost the big FUBU deal, once paraded as a pioneering venture, without much fanfare, leaving industry watchers to speculate that it flopped not just for lack of audience, but perhaps due to swirling controversies. He's feuding, or maybe was feuding, with Justin Baldoni, allegedly had a meltdown over remarks about Blake Lively, and is tangentially tied to tragedy on a movie set that he, in some capacity, helped produce. Yet he still cracks jokes on social media, invests in quirky new companies, and sweet-talks us through bedtime stories. Despite everything, an army of fans stands ready to defend their beloved wisecracker. Hollywood's history is littered with megastars who looked untouchable, until the next scandal came roaring through like a runaway freight train. Could that be happening here? Or will these controversies fade away, overshadowed by the next round of comedic brilliance and blockbuster success? We may never get a definitive answer, especially if Reynolds keeps refining his brand at the speed of light. But that's where you come in. Are we barking up the wrong tree? Or do you suspect there's a fire under all this smoke? Let us know below, because the Ryan Reynolds saga, with its blend of punchlines, power moves, and possible vanity channels, is far from settled. If nothing else, it's a reminder that even the funniest guy in the room might have his share of skeletons rattling around in the closet, or at least a well-rehearsed punchline to keep them quiet.